to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. I'm your humble host, Ryan McCarthy. We've got an awesome episode coming up for you ahead with my buddies Levack and Goz. Just want to remind you, if you missed the television portion of this particular program, you can always go back and listen on our on podcast form. Just look for No Credentials Required. We're on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, any podcast platform that you can find. I'm just enjoying some sunny weather here on Good Friday. Just want to pass along happy Easter, happy Passover greetings to those who observe. And let's get into the episode where I'm joined by my buddies Levack and Goz. We talk Albany Empire, National Arena League. We talk USFL. We talk about the NFL draft. A whole bunch of other subjects. So enjoy. And welcome to the Friends with Ryan segment, where friends both old and new come to talk sports. And I'm bringing back a couple of old, well, I wouldn't say old in age, but former guests of mine. They're occasional guests on No Credentials Required. We're going to bring them in right now. We've had on my... Yeah, those guys.
I had dinner 5 hours ago. What are we doing here?
A podcast?
Why am I still awake? What's a podcast?
Have you heard about Gilbert Godfrey just passed away? Did you hear that Affleck died?
This going to be in the talking pictures later.
Oh.
By the way, R.I.P. Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah. Yet another legend.
Right.
Another legend.
But I bring in my friends, the Jeff Levack and Tom Goslowski. Goslowski. Hey guys, how are we doing tonight?
I'm good.
At one point, I thought there were other people in the room that you were introducing here at the Goslowski household.
Well, you are the third. Like
you are the third.
Dad and
exactly.
Granddad were there.
Yeah.
Your dad doing chin-ups behind you, just rocking out, just CrossFit chin-ups.
Oh man.
R.I.P. Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah. R.I.P. Gilbert Godfrey.
Who's the cat, Ryan? Who's your cat?
That's Tagalong.
Tagalong is the cat's name?
Yeah.
He looked up at you like, yo.
Hi, bud.
He's like, you didn't introduce me at Tagalong on Twitter.
Everyone knows who he is. He's the the greatest internet cat ever. He'll be 10 in a couple. He'll be 10 next week. It'll be awesome.
Is it
Happy birthday?
Wasn't Grumpy Cat the greatest internet cat? Mount Rushmore of internet cats. Grumpy Cat, Garfield, Heathcliff,
and Tagalong.
All right, we'll go.
Also Gizmo, rest in peace.
Oh man, now I'm sad. I
feel like I should have brought some in. I didn't know we were drinking during this podcast. Now I feel just disrespectful to all the toast that we've done here.
It's just water.
I'm trying to find a little catnip to do in Gizmo's honor. Oh.
I've happy birthday stuff. If that's good enough for the honoring of
this part.
Happy birthday, Tagalong. Leave all this.
No one in particular.
Ryan, you edit none of this out of this podcast. Someone's going to zoom through this and be like, "Does it get any better than this?"
Hold on, no. I have a party bag nearby. We can throw a party. We are, and it just happens to be nearby.
Just aggregate this part of it.
I have No Credentials Required stickers.
Ooh.
Yeah, this will be the 45 seconds of the podcast Ryan puts on social media. You got to tune in to see this.
Listen to our cold open. This is what happens for the introduction. You got to see the rest on Belly Up TV on Saturday morning at 10 a.m.
And right after that, all three admitted to being post-op transsexuals. It was an amazing show.
We got Ryan.
We'd be very ugly women.
Ryan, Jessica, and
Teresa.
Tamara.
Teresa, please.
Tamina. Nobody's Mina like Tamina. So let's start off with this. We're gonna cut into the real business here. So let's talk about some Albany Empire football.
Never heard of them.
I have El Presidente with us, who is Jeff Levack, who's the president of the Albany Empire Football Club. How are things coming along in training camp right now?
Things are good. Things are very good, actually. Tomorrow is the first day that we're going to be, kind of going over to Aframs and working out a little bit because the Firewolves are taking over our locker rooms. They suck. They're evil people. Actually,
they're
love those
upstanding citizens.
Yeah. And most of them are Canadian, so they're extremely polite.
Of course.
And we're actually going to be they're honoring us at halftime of their game on Saturday. So very cool. But no, just I got to tell you, I think this might be one of the better groups of guys that we've ever seen. Like I loved last year's team. It was very special. I love 19. I loved 18, but this group is just a good group of dudes. Just all good guys, all excited to be here, all hardworking. We had to give them a day off because they were practicing so hard. They were all getting dinged. Our trainer Emily was like, I'm gonna need some more tape. I'm gonna need a lot more ice. so we just gave them a day to mend, stay off their feet and get better. Coach Manas is great at that. Just figuring out how to keep the injuries to a minimum and move forward. So exciting, good times. And what you said, this is gonna be on Saturday. So what, 7 days till we kick off.
How are
I'm not nervous. You're nervous.
Yeah, right. How are some of the guys adjusting to Ironman? Because Ironman's coming this year, and it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be fun.
There is very few things I like more than screwing with Darius Prince, the reigning offensive player of the year. Like you guys know this. I mean, like when we took him golfing, first time we went golfing, I gave him my garbage driver, and he broke it. Like the head went farther than the ball did.
We need a picture of that for the show.
There's a picture of him holding like the pieces of the club up.
All right, I'll find it.
Yeah. But the other, like Monday, I got to actually hang out and watch some practice. Dude, it's nice. Like he said all last year he could play defense. Like he wanted to D up guys. Like he wanted to be, and I just, Darius is a confident young man, we'll say. He can play defense. I think it's that basketball background. A lot of people don't know this. He didn't play football in college, he played basketball. So the footwork on defense is similar. The ability to turn, pivot. He looks really good. I hate saying how good he looks. That's how good he looks. Like to the point where even Coach Manaz was like, I don't want to say it. Go away, Darius. Darius, cover your ears. He looks good. He looks, and everybody does. Like everybody's out there. Tiberius Lampkin is playing a lot of running back. I've seen him in practice. My man is guys, you can do this because you cover the drafts so much and the Heisman and all that. Like he's listed at like 5'8". My dude's like 5'5", but and he's probably gonna be mad at me for saying that. He is thick and dude runs angry. So I think we're going to run the football, So that Coach Ware and Coach Manaz like to run the football, both extended, and
I saw that today. Congratulations to the both of them.
They deserve it. Very cool. But I think there's a lot to like, and there's Nick Hague from Worcester. He's fire. Fire. The guys, he brings the fire, the intensity. He brings the fire. You're going to lose it when you see him out there running around, getting crazy.
Awesome.
So good, Brian. It's good, okay?
All right.
Stop digging.
I gotta dig. I'm the host of the podcast. I gotta dig.
Darius Prince at one point felt like Ron Burgundy there. Everyone come see how good I look. Right? What happened with Darius Prince? By the way,
everyone,
Ryan and Levack, you guys don't mind.
Play defense.
That's right. I'm writing notes down, by the way. So if you guys ever see me down when Levack is saying some stuff as we get closer to the season, I am putting notes down on a paper to the side of me here. So
this is hysterical to me, Ryan. Goz has already claimed a desk in my office, but he doesn't use it. So like, there's a desk in the Empire office that is Goz's desk. Like it's his desk.
Is it a TV tray? Is that what it is? Is it a TV tray?
No, it's a cubicle. It's a cubicle in the hall. Like there's going to be an intern this year that's to sit on the floor because Goz took his desk. But but he waits to go on podcasts to get information from me about the team. He could just come in. He has a place to work.
I keep forgetting my sticker, which I will bring Tuesday or Wednesday or Saturday at some point before kickoff.
What sticker?
For the actually clean the desk so nobody sits there. That's right.
Are you gonna lick your hand? Are you gonna lick your hand and put it on the desk like that? Like I cleaned this desk.
That's not a bad idea. It's much cheaper.
Oh God! You know what? I'm regretting this already. It's one of those ones where I was like, "Yeah, so Goz wants a desk, so I'm gonna Mike Corda just give him a freaking desk, whatever. He's a good guy. That's fine." Will you shut up if we give him a desk?
Guys, I'm gonna talk to you real quick. You were at media day on Sunday. Unfortunately I couldn't make it.
Yeah, where were you, loser?
I was recovering from a day trip to New Jersey. That's what I was doing.
I I drove all the way to New Jersey. I couldn't possibly do anything else.
I drove all the way to New Jersey. I had to. Oh, I sound like Dr. Fauci there, but I drove all the way to New Jersey. I had to come back, and it was tired. No, I had a previous appointment, so I couldn't make it. But guys, you were there on media day on Sunday. What was the vibe like? What were some of the? I obviously your podcast, the getting there with Goz on the go, released media day interviews. What was the vibe like amongst the players, amongst the coaches? Can you give us a bit of an insight about what the general impression you got from media day?
2022 media days, and credit to Levack. I know he's here, so it's weird or even to congratulate him and his staff for a great job they did. I told him this immediately after that. Post-COVID media events and days, there can be a different side to it because a lot of adjustments have to be made the last 2 years. But the fact that Levack and his team was able to create not just a traditional media setting where you saw local reporters from the TV side there, but we had beat writers, we had non-traditional media, we had podcast hosts like myself, we had internet writers. Like, we had a great mix of local people who wanted to cover the team, that the Albany Empire and their media staff, and shout out to Jamie and Matt Woods and Mike Cord and everybody who gave that access to the team. If you wanted to be professional and you wanted to cover the team, they were going to treat you like a professional. If you wanted to be an idiot and come in, they weren't going to let you in. So that's all you can ask for. Like,
that's why I stayed home. I was going to be an idiot.
So that's all you can ask for. The cool part about the Goz on the Go feedback we've been getting from the interviews, and this is, I think, the best compliment we can get as media members, is those interviews didn't feel like interviews. They truly felt like conversations. It didn't feel like somebody stuck a microphone in Darius Prince's face or Brandon Ceese's face or anybody. Like Faithful, like, they sat down. We had real conversations. They were open. They were honest. They were engaging. As a person who hopes for all of those things from athletes, and to get all of those things, and I don't want to leave out Coach Jay Rich and Coach Damon Ware, like, all these guys were so open and honest with me, and they talked about camp, and they talked about the season. So huge success. And one more time, I'll congratulate and thank the staff of the Empire, because that's a huge part of it. I can't have that access. I can't have those conversations without those guys. So more credit's deserved in them than me. Although I'd like to take it, I can't on that one.
Give some credit to your engineer, since you didn't know how to set up the equipment that you were using.
It's also Levack.
It's like, Goz, would you screw up this time?
I feel like I just accepted an award. Thanked a lot of people.
I know. Did you like Ryan goes?
You like me. You really like me.
Ryan goes, tell us about media day, and Goz spends 10 minutes going, this is why I'm so great at what I do. I sat down with some of the great guys in the Empire, and I made them sound human. I brought them out of their shells.
That is not what happened. I just thanked everybody for 3 minutes. That's all I did. Ryan, what did you hear on your end? I was thanking people, not myself.
Levack, was that a little bit of Yellington right there?
No, he called me earlier today. Because I found, yeah. So the voice is there. He might call. You never know.
The impression was very good. It was very spot on. No,
I talk to him a lot. I mean, he's a benefactor of mine. No, Apex. You know what's funny is, Goz knows this. I hate media day. Like, it's one of those things where I love the real conversation, like tracking people down. I don't like sticking the microphone out and like with 60 other people and fighting for a question, while somebody from Nickelodeon's yelling about underwear. I can't stand it. So when we saw Apex Entertainment's plan over at Crossgates Mall for the layout, I was like, this is perfect, because the fans are going to get to come in. We broke it down into pieces, right? So the very beginning, media was going to have an absolute chance to be one-on-one with whoever they wanted to be with. All the guys were really gracious. The team got over there and hung out. And then I wanted my season ticket holders, because they're your backbone. I wanted them to be able to get in there, and then I wanted it open to everybody. And Apex was great, because a lot of times when you do that open to everybody, the like bars, restaurants, facilities like that look at you and go, yeah, but I'm picking the food up, because I'm not feeding everybody. But no, the Apex was just like, okay, if this is your vision, if this is how you want to do it, this is how we recommend achieving it. And they laid it out perfect. It was really, really cool. And if we are so lucky as to host the press conference for the championship this year, like we did last year, I'm knocking on Apex's door again and trying to do it the exact same way.
Yeah, and also the local businesses. I see you guys. I see the Empire snatching up local businesses as sponsors for the season too. So that's another part of the backbone of the Empire right there. Is local businesses. You got with some of the businesses you got. You Cindy Martin, of course, who's also a
Cindy's always around, always helping. Cindy actually
yep.
is like, I think she's like my number 2 ticket salesperson. I think it's Matt
Jeez.
Woods and then it's Cindy. Because like we'll
Yeah,
get like
Matt Woods, Cindy, Polly Walnuts. Those are your top three right there.
well, it's like Cindy, like I'll get a text from Cindy like, "Hey, is it okay if so and so calls Matt?" And I'm like, "For what?" "Well, they want tickets." I'm like, "Well, that's what he does." "Yeah, you're like
Yeah.
she's so polite, like she's so nice, but she's out there like
Is
letting
she
everybody know how much
Canadian?
fun
She
she is."
won the Firewolves.
I know. She's, you know what it is, like I, not to get too serious, I think it's because of her life. You know what I mean? Because she is that person who helps you find your houses, helps people like with that big investment. She's a cancer survivor. Like she stared
Yeah.
death in the face, literally. And it's just for whatever reason, like I think it would turn me into an even bigger dickhead than I already am. Like it just made her even nicer than she already was. And she's always there helping out. I love it. I mean, it has been great. Like we also during media day announced our presenting sponsor for this year, and it's Standard, and they do, you know, heating, cooling, all that great stuff, and they're just coming into the market. They're a Mohawk Valley company, and when they found out we met them through our friends at Elevation 10K, another sponsor. And
the uniforms, right?
Uniforms are actually from Sweat, Sacrifice, Success. It's actually the owner of the San Antonio Gunslingers company.
Oh, okay.
We became friends with Hector Garcia. Hector was like, "Hey guys, I make uniforms. Can I send you some mock-ups?" And we were like, "Well, we're talking to, you know, that UA place. I don't know if we need." And they sent them. We're like, "These are hot. Like, let's go. Like, we like these a lot." Though that was that, but like everything else, like all of our signage, all of our, you know, the gear is all from Elevation 10K. But they introduced us to Jen and Brooke from Standard, and it was like, "Oh my God, you guys are like us. Like you're cool. Like you get it. Like you don't charge for, you know, just going out and you know, flipping a switch where like some other companies hit you for $200 can flip a switch. Like you do it right." And we were thrilled to have them on board. And then they came out and they were even cooler than we thought, and it was fun. So they're there. I said Apex is on board. Yankee Trails is gigantic. It's been really cool. It's the difference this year to last year is night and day. Like last year, by the time I got in there, everything was already rolling, and everyone was scared to put money behind something they didn't know if we'd be able to actually go and enjoy. Yeah. This year, everybody's like, "Well, hell, if you survived last year and you won a championship, let's go, let's go." We know you're gonna find a way to get at least play your 6 home games, hopefully 8, and maybe bring home another ring.
Now, what's it going to take for no credentials required to get their own signage on either the boards or maybe the nets? So, not the nets, but the somewhere in the arena. No credentials required. I mean, it's just shot in the dark.
I would keep that. Don't answer that. Don't answer
lots
that.
Lots of money. I think there's 2 ways to do it. Okay, I think there's 2 ways to do it. Money.
Photoshop, obviously.
Well, okay, 3. Okay, 3. Photoshop, money, or the team president's name being in your show are probably your best 3 ways to potentially end up with a dasher board.
All right,
keep that as a secret, please.
What? I didn't say anything. I'm just saying I can be bought. Is what I'm saying. No credentials required, but Levack is required. That's the new name of the show, and then we'll talk, and then possibly we can do it.
With the next round at Hooters, we'll definitely talk about that.
Which is, well, wait. So here's the time warp of podcasting, right? So the next time at Hooters is the day after we do this, but the day before you air it. In other words, we'll see you tomorrow night over at Hooters. In other words, Ryan, we'll see you tomorrow night at Hooters.
All right.
Hooters
after
again.
Church.
Hooters,
after
another great sponsor. Another great sponsor.
Ooh,
Hooters got involved early on too. So never heard of the place before. Never been to it. Heard they had decent chicken wings.
I heard they had owls.
Yeah, the big. I thought it was an owl conservatory. Like on Monday when the guys broke huddle because they've been eating dinner at Hooters, they all said like 1, 2, 3 Hooters, and they went, I was like, damn it, you guys get to go have more fun than me, that ain't right? You're all in shape. What the hell?
Yeah. All right. So my last question before we go to the next, little thing here. So, Levack,
Next
guys,
little thing, that's you guys.
yeah. Ooh. Ouch. But
or not ouch. It's that small.
Oh no!
This is a Saturday
Ryan,
morning
go ahead
show.
with your question.
Oh,
This is a
sorry.
Saturday morning show, sir.
Sorry.
Kids are eating their Fruity Pebbles while they're watching this, I think.
Don't be like me, kid. Don't do it.
Yeah. But what's your, outside of winning a championship, obviously, for both of you, what's your biggest hope for this season? I know, but we're coming out of what I hope is post-COVID. You know, we're out of the pandemic, more butts in the seats. But what's your biggest hope outside of a championship? What's your biggest hope for this season? I'm gonna start with Goz, then we'll go to Levack.
Yeah, that's a little harder question for me. I was actually going to toss that back to Levack, but I'll just give a little short and sweet answer.
Fine. I mean, I'm the host. I'm just that's why I let you go first.
That's right. I will just say this. My goal as the broadcaster is to put out the best product for the fans of the NAL and the Empire fans. If you're not able to make it to the MVP arena, my goal is to bring you the game as the best I can. I know I work for the Albany Empire, but my goal is to be as non-biased as I can and explain the rules and talk about the game and promote the players and the athletes and talk about the action on the field. So my goal for the season is to continue to promote the NAL and the Albany Empire and continue to get the word out there about the Empire. That's my goal, which is totally different than Levack's spot for his executive presidential roles and stuff.
Well, no, but that is why we like Goz and we like Andrew Santello, because we've all done this, right? So we've all done sports talk in some variety, and it's when you get there's guys who work for teams, and they're always going to have a little hint of bias. You can't avoid it. Sign your check, and it's who you're around, and you hear the good things. But we want guys to go out there and be like, oh, that was a bad play, or that was, or whatever the real thing. We want fair. That's all we want is fair. Like there were things over the course of the last offseason that, let's be honest, they just weren't fair. If they were fair, right, I wouldn't have been upset about them. It's hands down, number one thing is to win again. You said the other thing, but I think I have to sit on it for a hot second. We want to win again. We want to win again. Jacksonville's won the NAL twice. We want to win the NAL twice. That'll be our third championship. Postseason means that the Albany Empire have never existed and missed a postseason. So that's big. I mean, obviously the first year is a little tongue in cheek because everybody in the first year of the AFL Empire existence, everybody went to the postseason, but it's still true. It's a factual statement. If we make the postseason, we've never missed a postseason. But I think after the championship, because I think the championship makes the other thing happen. I want the fans of Capital Region Sports to realize we ain't going nowhere. Like it's this weird circle of apathy, right? Where because teams leave, people assume teams are going to leave, so they refuse to support the team. But because they didn't support the team has to leave.
Yeah,
so
that's always been my biggest complaint about professional sports, particularly in this area. And I Goz and I, we've talked about it. We talked about it last summer. Teams just leaving because they aren't getting support. But if people don't come out to support it, because
they're going to leave. It's a circle of apathy. And so when Mike Horta, when he bought the rights to this team, when he bought the intellectual property, his number one thing was, Jeff, I'm going to find a way to make sure this team plays in Albany. Like, I'm going to find a way to make sure it's a Capital Region team no matter what. Ron Tradico, Nate Starling come in, John Kane comes in, like these guys all coming together, and we play in Albany, right? We get it done. Everybody got their teeth kicked in last year. We lost $700,000. I say we. I didn't lose a penny.
Thanks for clarifying.
But I watched my friend and my boss, from Tech East Fire and Water Restoration, Mike Horta, take everything he has and put it back into his team twice. He did it during it, and then he's done it again this year to become the majority owner. So he is going to do everything he can to make this work. And somebody asked me, it might have been the Times Union. It might have been Abby from the Times Union. Basically, what would it take for it to not be your team? Somebody would have to tell Mike that they could run it better than him and convince him it wasn't going anywhere. That's what it would take. Convince Mike you're not going anywhere and you can run it better than we can. and that's the only way he would do it. That's it. Because the guy has zero ego. Zero, like it's ridiculous. Like I love abusing him. It's half the fun of my day. But he has zero. Like he doesn't want to be on camera. He doesn't want to be on microphone. He just wants to make sure that we have something here in Albany that's ours.
Awesome. That's really great.
Ryan, I don't mean to cut in front of you, but I think you both know me well enough that question Levack brought up from Abby, like you can actually almost see my face getting red, and I'm not doing a good job of like hiding how much that bothered me, the question that Abby asked Levack, because
she didn't do it. It was it was in a conversation where I kind of set it up for her.
Okay.
It wasn't. Yeah, no.
So you guys because it was getting ready. Yeah,
I was like, it wasn't a spite maliciousness. It was
no. She's actually she's the people that we've been able to deal with so far this year. Amazing. You know, it's been a lot of fun already. But no, I was giving her Mike's backstory, right? Because Mike was the hero of the 1994 South Colony Garnet Raider team and the big tackle at the end of, whatever. And blows his elbow out. I think it was against Coast Guard or whatever. He blows his elbow out and he never gets to realize his dream of at least seeing if he could make it to the NFL, to the AFL, to the, the FL, whichever one. And then when this became when the Empire came back, because I didn't see Mike in 100 years. And it was leading up to the 2018 team that he and I started hanging out again. Because his love of the team, he started supporting the team, put some coin behind that team. And now that he can own it, that's what it was like kind of going through the backstory. And that's what she's like. And I told her how the reason we even kicked off last year is Mike, Ron, Nate, John, they wanted to make sure the community had something. And then she kind of just like, well, what would it take? Like, just since we're asking it, since we're talking about how important is it's here, what would it take? It wasn't. And again, I'm not even, to be honest with you, the way the last couple of days have gone, it may not have been her. It could have been someone standing next to her. So I don't want to put that on her and have guys like go make a voodoo doll.
I guess I'm a little like, I'm not the Twitter terrier like our old pal, the other Matt Woods used to be. I don't like even fight with people that often on social media. I think that comment, and you both know this, so I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but for a new audience, like that stuff bothers me about living in the capital region, because as the broadcaster of the team, and I broadcast other teams, but like this in particular for the Empire, that will never be a storyline during a broadcast ever. Like I will never bring up like, could the Empire be on the move? Like, why? Like, no, like that has nothing to do with this. Let's talk about the play, right? Like, let's talk. This will never happen on No Credentials Required. That's for sure. Right, but like it's
important the here and now.
Look, I get the history of the capital region as somebody who didn't grow up in the capital region. How you guys, Ryan and Levack, feel about it is different than me, and that's always how it's going to be, and that's okay. Like that's a part about growing up as a sports fan. That's the unique part of this, but. Like it's such a low-hanging fruit that it is just such laziness from people. Like get something else to talk about. Levack and Mike have talked about it probably at nausea. Like I'm probably making Levack nauseating from hearing another conversation about this. So I'll stop quick, but like enough. Like we got to get past that. Like you've got the guys in place, you've got everything you need, and the team can be successful, right?
And you're right, but where I'm sitting, I don't have that luxury. Like if somebody wants to have that conversation, I want to have that conversation because I want it clear. I want it like the only way it doesn't work is if it doesn't work. Like the one thing that we run into right now is Mike is a businessman. Like you look at Mike and you see this big meathead looking dude. He looks like Vanilla Suge Knight. And people don't realize like how smart, like he loves his family and his business. That's about it. Maybe Johnny Walker Blue, but like it's that's what he's about, So I know that people are going to hate the way we run this team this year because we're going to run this team like a business. We're not going to go out and blow tons of cash with no chance of getting it back. But if money needs to be spent to make the team work, to get to that point where it's going to work, it's going to get spent. Like I've watched that guy pull out an American Express card way too many times. And then I didn't even know they made certain ones. Like this isn't like a credit card. This is like a magic card. Like he waves that thing and things get done. I don't even know how it works, but like it's all business.
It has to be a certain color. That's for sure.
It's, and to be honest with you, I don't see color, Ryan. But no, like he's not.
You know what I mean.
but he's not like rich. Like Mike's not rich. You know,
No.
Mike's just really good. Like he built Tech East up from a closet. Him and his wife named it over the table. His uncle Eddie and him, that was a construction company at one point. Now it's, you know, we do the mitigation and we also have construction, but like he built it up out of nothing. And then now there's this. And if I can tell you one thing, like we've had people in football leagues ask us like, hey, if Albany didn't work, would you move the Empire? And Mike's walked away. And then I've come back and gone, hey, he owns the IP for 4 other teams. We don't necessarily have to move the Empire, my friend. like how you feel about the Pawtucket Valor? I'm just saying, there's no reason. If you got the right deal for us, we could put a team out there if it came down to it. But right now, it's all about making sure that the Empire is secure.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna move on from the Albany Empire locally. We're gonna move on to another football league. I know you're kind of sick of talking about them, Levack. I know you're team president, but I know I
talk about them all day. I talk about them in my sleep.
Well, we're going to move on to another football league. It's actually starting tonight on Saturday night. That would be the USFL, as my New Jersey Generals take on.
You picked a team, huh?
I'm from New Jersey originally, so that was my team growing up.
Oh, that's that smell.
Yeah, that's the accent and that's the odor when we're around. But but the USFL, do either of you have any interest in this league right now with this iteration of this league? Do you think it'll last? Do you think it'll go past year one? Will it fail like the AAF, American Alliance of American Football? And guys, by the way, I found an Arizona football spring football league on YouTube the other day. So I know your affinity for Arizona fall baseball. Now I found an Arizona spring football.
That's what I'm pushing.
So,
like if we ever own anything else, I want it to be an Arizona fall league team. I don't want to make Goz. I'm gonna put Goz in charge of it too. It's gonna be great.
Oh, not knowing
that would be majestic.
Not knowing the football league's details and knowing the baseball league details, I would like to pass on that. Although the idea of owning a baseball team does sound cool, but I will not do it for the Arizona Fall League.
I'm not gonna let you own it because then you might be able to do bad things to them. I'm just gonna let you be like,
what, you don't want to own the Segundo Churros? Come on, man.
Get them out there with wiffle ball bats instead. Be more entertaining.
Like the Bananas there, is it? That team is amazing.
Fire bat?
Bananas are hella fun.
Fire bat. They got like 80-year-old former pitchers walking out of the stands, chugging beers, throwing pitches.
You got a guy doing split at the batters, doing a split in the batter's box. Come on,
it's phenomenal.
I feel like I shouldn't be asking a question about the USFL because you asked about like our interest level, but I'm just a little confused by the timeline of the USFL. So,
okay,
why didn't they wait till May? Because look, we got the NFL draft coming up, and if the NFL draft is still, it is the Pro Football League in America, the attention for the next 2 weeks is going to be on the draft. Like everyone's going to be like, who's going where? Like the USFL is going to be destroyed by draft coverage for the next 2 weeks. And then you've still got hockey playoffs coming up. You've got the NBA, and maybe that whole fan base is different than that. But no doubt, football versus football is not a great way to kick it off. Could be stadium availabilities, everything else. Could you have waited till May? I have zero interest in following the USFL. I'm going to be locked in on the NAL this spring, this summer. So I have no interest in this. And I think you asked the question about goals. This should not be a goal, but it feels like this is the right answer. Isn't it just year two? Like the XFL in the second incarnation, even though I was not a fan of a lot of the things and became a fan by going to a game, I cannot deny that COVID completely changed everything. Like a league in year one is going to lose money. They're going to lose far more money when COVID hits. That is a storyline that cannot be ignored, whether you're a critic or a fan of the XFL second version. Mm-hmm. The Alliance American Football League, I would suggest to go watch the documentary because that gives a better idea of what happened. I think like 85% of the documentary is good enough to talk about that Charlie Ebersol's in the same conversation as like these Elizabeth Holmes and Adam Newmans, like these, like these guys who build up these companies. You guys get it. The tech people who bomb and crash their companies.
Oh, like Enron.
Right. Like Charlie Ebersol is no different than those people like Elizabeth Holmes and Adam Newman that just talk, fed BS, and then it crashed. So they're all a little different, but it feels like year two because the other ones couldn't get by year one.
I love football. So more football is good football. Guys, the reason I think they're starting now is their goal is to do their championship game on July 3rd. So like what's more American than, that's I think that was the deal there. Well, not if you listen to sports talk, it's not.
Oh boy.
But I don't love the business model. I didn't like the draft. I thought the draft was I thought the draft had the chance to be really exciting because they drafted each round was a position. Like you had to draft that position in that round. It was almost like a really restrictive fantasy football draft.
Right.
I'm hearing some nerves about them. I'm hearing some people feel like the business model might be a little closer to the Alliance of American Football than anybody wants to admit. But I think what the one thing they've done, I think that sets them up for potential success, or at least a pivot toward success, is by playing all the games in Birmingham. I think that you've now, in case if that dirty C word COVID pops back up, it's a lot easier for you to bubble because you're right there. Just again, I know that's not what anybody wants to hear, but this is where the smart part comes in. You've saved so much money on travel, this, that, and the other thing. And if you decide to go and play your home stadiums next year, fine. If you decide to be the traveling league that we thought the AFL was going to become, fine. Like this could become like the Premier Lacrosse League, where for a weekend you get General Stallions, you get all of them. They all come to your town. Something we haven't seen before. So they put themselves in a bit of a position to, flex in and out of where they want to be, which I think is smart. But I think most football fans are going to obviously gravitate towards the draft, like Goz mentioned. I think when the XFL kicks off, the XFL blows them out of the water because the XFL is something that it's sexy. It's got the rock attached. They've got a relationship with the NFL, which helps. Yeah. But until I see the product on the field, I won't know. I just hope they do the beer snake with the cups. If they do that, I'll be okay.
Which is going to be interesting to see if we have a franchise in St. Louis, because what that Stan Kroenke lawsuit went down, $800 million going to the city of St. Louis from the NFL. I don't think the Battlehawks are coming back to St. Louis.
Yeah. I mean, you got to know that you can make it work, though. You know what I mean? Like there is a lot of risk with any football franchise that doesn't have NFL attached to it. NAL, XFL, USFL, that it's
IFL. Yeah.
Talk about risk. I just love that you can get kicked out of our league and go win theirs. Wait, was this sorry, I meant
what? I didn't hear a thing.
I
lost the signal there.
Yeah, sorry. Blocked right out. But I think, to take that money, that windfall for the city, and put it right into a football team or stadium to entice a football team or whatever, that's you got to good luck getting the voter approval on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like the model they're going with the bubble, first season in the bubble, to kind of mitigate your costs, because obviously the economy is it's garbage
wonky.
Right now.
Wonky.
Okay, wonky.
That's what my economists are saying.
Oh, okay, it's wonky. But you have but you have first season in the bubble. It mitigates any cost lost because of travel. You have a bubble, so to speak. You play in two different stadiums. You have your championship game in Canton, Ohio, where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is, which is kind of going back to its roots. And then maybe the next year, see what happens. Do you compete against the XFL? Do you merge with the XFL? I mean,
did you see somebody asked us if we wanted to be in the XFL? Somebody posted on one of our social medias like this: would the Empire join the XFL? I mean, I'm down. I'm not afraid.
Yeah. We'll play at your old Bleecker Stadium. Sure. Why not? We'll sell out.
The host is taking over in me, Ryan. I'm sorry. I have to do a follow-up question to your question you just pointed out here. Why the merge? Like, what would be the benefit of the USFL and the XFL merging? Because I hear that, I'm thinking, like, if you're going to merge, you think you're going to be a contender for the NFL. I don't think they want to be a contender for the NFL. I think they just want to get a piece of the pie.
I think they want to be the piece of the pie. I think they also want to be a development league. Because the NFL, the one thing that NFL had back in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, I don't know if you guys remember, NFL Europe. We saw a lot of players come out of NFL Europe. Jake Delhomme was one of them. Kurt Warner obviously his story, one of them going from the Arena Football League to NFL Europe.
He was
to
an
St.
indoor.
Louis.
He just was an indoor quarterback. That was it. That was the
And
only.
I remember him beating the Firebirds, a couple times, and especially in the playoffs. I was so mad at that.
Former chief scout of the Albany Empire, head coach of those Iowa Barnstormers, my friend Dave Mogensen.
Oh,
Yes, that's true.
Oh. But
coach has got a Barnstormer hat in his office. I'm like, really? Because Dave sent it to
him. But the only reason why I can think of is a merge between the XFL and the USFL is to become a developmental league for the NFL eventually. Like you see practice squad guys go to one of that league, either they become the XFL or USFL if they merge and rebrand into something like the XFL. You have those teams already in place in markets that are established for football, and you could become a developmental league. You could try experimental rules like a overtime again, like a shootout overtime like they have in college, except without the hokey 2-point conversions after like the second overtime, which is don't get me started on that. You could try kickoff rules. You could try different kind of things to see if it works in this league, and someday it might go to the NFL. So that's why I kind of see I kind of want to see things kind of an emerged style type thing. As long as they keep the New Jersey Generals, I can rock my New Jersey Generals gear. Whatever it takes, I'll do that.
Yeah, New Jersey General gear, or as I like to call it, oh, that's why I went to the other side of the street, because that guy was wearing New Jersey General gear.
Listen, I gave my dad a New Jersey Generals t-shirt for Father's Day last year. He appreciated it. He loved the USFL until it tanked the first time.
Anything.
Oh, well, get his name.
Oh my God, Levack, too soon.
It was 93. The man passed away in 93. You can't say too soon.
Go check out the Jeff Perlman book about the USFL.
Yes, the Jeff Perlman book with the USFL is excellent.
I prefer Ron Perlman. Excellent. His books way better.
All right.
Is Ron Perlman? Ron Perlman's not dead, is he? I don't think he is. No, you can't kill.
He's morphing into the Beast that he played in Beauty and the Beast in the television series. That's why.
Oh my God!
I poured one out for Ron Perlman. Even
I mean, he died towards the end of. Oh, I almost gave a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Sixth Sense.
No, yeah, no, he's not. No, he was a big character in Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, he was the boss guy.
Yes.
Yeah, Clay.
Sure, why not?
Wow. Yep.
All right. So speaking of the NFL draft's coming up. What get a sense of what
is it? Does the draft even matter?
I've heard up a couple of things. It's this recording
with the first and second pick
away.
of the 2022 draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Devontae Adams. I think he'll be pretty good for us. I think he's got some upside for the NFL. I think it's gonna be good.
Well, I don't have to worry about asking you that question about how your team's going to do for draft in the first, second round. But guys, what's your impression? What do you think is going to happen for your Buccaneers? So, what do you think their biggest needs are? What do you think they need to address?
Quarterback.
Yeah, Tom Brady. It's old.
Fun fact: Tom Brady and I are only 2 weeks. I think we're only 17 days apart.
The amount of times that Goz and I have confused you and Brady, it's a known thing.
Well, he's got over 600 touchdowns. I think I've eaten over 600 M&Ms in a single year. I think it's just the difference.
Bags. I mean, come on. Anybody who eats just 600 M&Ms in a single year should walk the plank.
It's the Halloween size bags. That's what it is.
That's fine. That's fine. Ones. But like 600 individual M&Ms. I mean, that's a sitting, isn't it?
It's one of those party size bag. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes. To your question about the Buccaneers, I guess wide receiver is always the answer when you have Tom Brady. I know Fournette left and then came back, and I know Gronk's in a weird spot, so I guess tight end would be an easier one. But you're not going to build a chemistry with a rookie tight end with Tom Brady that fast. The answer is he wants Gronk back. So it always feels like build the team around Brady because the Buccaneers are in a win now mode, and they've been in that the last 2 years. They win the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They're a kick away or a few, blown coverage by Levante David, who's had a great career, but just did his own thing on that play where he gets burnt. So who knows how far the Bucs could have gone in that playoff run. So I always think wide receiver, because if you get somebody to help out Brady, great. I guess the other one would be an offensive lineman because Hobart's own Ali Marpet retired unexpectedly for some. So that's an impact player from the second round a few seasons ago who you gave a bunch of money to. So offensive line or wide receivers where I believe the Buccaneers.
Your head coach is a defensive guru. You're going defense, brother. It's going to be a defensive player.
Todd Mother Father Bowles.
I was like, if Ryan drops an MFer right now, for real, I might have been like, just knocked my mic over and walked away. I thought it was happening. Todd Bowles. I gotta believe you go deep because you can't draft the heir apparent, right? Because you got to you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to hear idiots like us going like Brady has a bad game. Is it time for
it's time for Kyle Trask?
Yeah, but I mean he's already there at least. You know what I mean? So you've got him, but like you're not going to get another quarterback. I like the idea of a wide receiver. It's a very stout wide receiver draft. I think every team who drafts a wide receiver probably did pretty well in this year's draft.
Yeah,
but there's just something about Bowles where I think he's going to want to put his stamp on it and put as much support around Brady as he can without, make sure there's a transition period for next year or the year after or 16 years down the road when he finally hangs it up. I think you guys go defense, and I think it'll probably be a sexy defensive pick.
Now there's a part of me just with Levack saying that. Now I can think of, okay, maybe a linebacker that flies around, but then there's like this video game player in me that thinks, what if you brought back the 46 Bear defense and over the center is Vita Vea, Maui,
Jordan Davis.
You knew it, Levack.
Oh.
Sue's over the other guard, and then Jordan Davis is over the other, and you just blitz the linebackers. Like you go full video game mode. That won't happen, but it just got me excited when Levack said defense. Like, what if they just changed football forever?
See, I actually have hope for Todd Bowles this time around because when he was with the Jets, he had a garbage GM with Mike Idzik and then Mike McCagnon.
Yeah.
And he just completely botched those drafts for Todd Bowles. And I think he could have done a lot of good things in New York. He just got stuck with a bad GM. And kind of I wouldn't say apathetic ownership, but overbearing ownership at the time.
Yeah, and this is one of those ones where like there's a chance for loyalty to pay off, right? Like I was in this conversation, I don't know, 2 days ago over, did I believe Brady chased Bruce Arians out of Tampa Bay? And I don't. I think legitimately what happened is Bruce Arians sat down with the front office and said, tell Todd not to take another job, that it's his next year, but we don't think the team can go through losing Tom Brady and Bruce Arians in the same year. And I'll stay one more year since Brady left. Brady comes back and he walked in, put his foot up on the desk, popped out his cigar and went, BA's about to go to the office and chill. So I think the loyalty between Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles, I want to see it work. I want to see a successor work. I don't want to see it work well enough that I got to watch Brady in a freaking Super Bowl again, but I want to see it work, to the point where it's like, okay, Todd Bowles is a better coach than what we thought he was because of the New York Jets. That disaster and train wreck.
Sad to say, yeah. As someone who witnessed it firsthand, I got it.
Do you want to know the Raiders for the draft? I think some Cheetos.
Oh yeah, Raiders. How about
relax?
The Raiders?
Relax. No, I think it'll be interesting to see what they actually do later. But obviously, first and second round are gone. I think the Raiders are pretty good. I think I was listening to NFL Network the other day, and they were talking about how good Denver is, and I'm just like, I think you guys should be a little concerned about what's going on in Vegas. I think Vegas is there's so many years where I've been able to convince myself of that. This is a year I was going into going, well, as long as no one breaks any major laws, we probably will be admirable. And all of a sudden, like the moves start happening. I'm like, oh, look at us. And I think Derek Carr's legit. And I think you'll see it now that he has, a legit number one receiver. And then Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller. And I can't wait. I'm excited.
Some kid in Avante Adams that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like to be the college receiver for the quarterback, then go to Aaron Rodgers and then want to go back to Derek Carr. Like that's just one of those ones that's like, and I would imagine if you were going golfing or, playing cards, you'd prefer Carr over Rodgers. But as far as
Right.
somebody throwing you the football, I think it's an amazing compliment to Carr. That 3-year extension for over $120 million.
Yeah, the Raiders are going to be fun to watch this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
that West.
that West
Ooh.
entire. I mean, give you guys an honest opinion. Do you think all 4 teams in the AFC West could make the playoffs next year in the AFC?
Could or will? Could, yes.
Could.
I think 2. I think it'll be 2. I think Kansas City and Vegas will make it. I think Russell Westbrook's a lot farther down the old man line than people realize. And Justin Herbert's
Westbrook or Wilson?
Wilson. Oh, that's it, Westbrook?
Both.
Yeah, both. Yeah,
Westbrook.
yeah. If your name is Russell,
Westbrook.
Russell Wilson. Usually it's Harden. I used to mess up James and Rich Harden. No, I think Russell Wilson. I don't think he's going to be able to handle the stress of it. Like, it's one thing to go into that situation like Peyton Manning did, where they're all like, "Hey, if we had Peyton Manning, we'd win it all," and then they did. Like, they should have twice. And now it's like, here comes Russ Wilson, and it's like, all right, like, what can you do, bud? Like, I don't know. I think he might be the third. Maybe if Herbert puts it together the way he wants to, he might be the 4th quarterback in that league, in that conference right now, that division.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm with Levack on that too. Like, the math is hard to figure out how all of them would get in the playoffs, because if they all would get in, so that means the division winner would have 10 wins because it expanded, right? We have 17 games that will be played, 18 game schedule, right? And then 8 teams make the play. I just don't know how there'd only be the max wins being 10 in that division. So because of that math, I'm glad Levack clarified the question, because could all 4 teams be a contender? Yeah, if we did power rankings, probably the AFC West teams would be above some AFC South, East, and North teams. But because of the math and the schedule layout, likely not.
I was curious. I think if you moved those 4 teams throughout the league, which division do they not win? Probably the East. Like, you got to take Buffalo over everybody not named Kansas City, and even then, I might give it to Buffalo. But, like, I think they take out the South. I think they take out what's left of the North. Like, it's rare to see that good of a setup. Like, before the Raiders got Adams, I was like, oh, great. I've got Derek Carr, who may be the best 4th quarter quarterback in the game right now. And I have the 3rd to 4th best quarterback in my conference. like, oh, great. This is fantastic. Can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. And now I'm looking at it going, all right, let's go. Let's see. Let's go. What you got? Send it.
Speaking of Buffalo, what do you guys think of the stadium deal? I know this is kind of stale. It's a couple weeks old, but just general opinion.
Boo. Here, look, all of us know this. You know this, Ryan. Levack knows this. Bills fans love to talk. They love to go on social media. They love to promote the Bills. They are a truly passionate fan base. When Buffalo is locked in for the future, and the Bills fans went through this like a half decade ago, I could just say 5 years, but they went through this a few years ago, where the team was potentially going to get moved because of John Bon Jovi and then non-president Donald Trump. Like, when we are going through this, there's just going to get moved, and Bills fans celebrated when it wasn't basically them who got moved. It was the Rams and the Chargers. The fact that they got a new stadium and no one celebrated is your answer. Like, it's in the history of privately owned stuff and stadiums and business, this is the biggest deal ever. And unfortunately, no one wants to say this in Western New York, but the Pagulas used their leverage. They knew how much leverage they had out in Western New York. They saved the Inner Harbor. They saved the Bills. The Sabres are still a mess competitively, but they're still there. They upgraded that arena, and they said, okay, we've done everything for you guys. Now it's time to pay us back. The billionaires became the bad guys, and no one wants to say that in Western New York, but that's what happened. Like, they used their leverage. They won. Kind of circles back to what we talked about earlier about business. They made a business move. People don't like it, but they pulled it off.
I think this is one of those deals, just kind of like when we talk about salary caps in the NFL. Like, if your team says, oh, we can't afford that player, they didn't want him. I think this is one of those situations where we're going to look back at this and go, how much money? I don't care. Like, it's just, everybody's up in arms right now, but over time, no one's going to care. You're just not going to care. No one's going to not watch the Bills because how their stadium was funded and how much it cost. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody's gonna rattle their sabers right now and run their mouths and everything, and then
no pun intended because Buffalo Sabres.
But there you go. But 3 to 5 years from now, everybody's gonna be like, what? I don't know, don't care. Like, it is what it is. I mean, the amount of buildings that we don't know, these exact same deals happen, but we don't know about them because they're chip factories or they're whatever. Like, it's not my money. I don't care. I know it is through some kind of tax, whatever. I just don't care. Like, I'll go. I'll go watch Bills fan jump through flaming tables in the parking lot and have drunken sex with each other all over the parking lot during the tailgates. My only ask is that the retractable roof look like a folding table. That's all I ask, is that, like, it just goes up and comes down like a folding table. That's all.
Is it a retractable roof, or is it just covered?
It needs to have one. It needs to have a folding table roof. And then when they win, flames come out of it. That's the only thing I ask. If you're going to spend the money, spend it right. Make it look like a folding table. And, like, when it comes out, like a six or a natty light sits on top. And just, there it is.
That should be the Pagula should pay for at least that.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yes. Do exactly what Levack said. I like all of that. This needs to be figured out. And then add one other element to it. A pro wrestler needs to dress up as Erwin R. Schweister, right? Remember him? The IRS? It's Schweister, right? Get out there, right? When he goes through the table, right when he goes through the Levack invented Bills table, someone scream out, but what about the taxes for the stadium? What about, like, there's your heel wrestler.
Right. You mean to tell me Bills finally win a Super Bowl in that new stadium? Everybody's going to go, yeah, sure. Finally, we're 1-4 in the Super Bowl, but this place is expensive.
That's right. The taxes. How dare that?
When do I get my ring for paying the taxes on this?
That's right.
God, don't bring up rings.
All right. So where can people find you guys? Obviously, Albany Empire, April 23rd, home
Let's
opener.
Go. Home opener.
Banner raising?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes. I was gonna. We're gonna announce it on. We're gonna announce it on. We're gonna announce it on Monday. But yes.
Okay, or at least something, some sort of pennant that says "We were champions."
No, it's a banner. We're dropping the banner. I'll do it. I'll tell
All
you.
right.
That's a. You won't introduce me to your sister, but I'll give you the exclusive that during the home opener at halftime, we're dropping the championship banner.
All right. After we're done recording, I'll try to introduce you. But anyway, April 23rd, Albany Empire season opener. We're going to try with our shields is the hashtag.
Yes.
With our shields.
Yes.
We're going to defend this title. Albany Empire are. But where can people find you? Levack, I'll start with you. Where can people find you if they want to just chirp at you or just find out about Albany Empire football?
At the Jeff Levack on Twitter, but AlbanyEmpireNAL.com is the important place. You get tickets, you get news, you get all the cool stuff. You can email me through there. I just I hate when people try to friend me on Instagram. Don't do it. I'm not going to accept it.
You didn't even go to your IG, which is fine. But that's okay.
I don't do it. I don't like my Instagram is for family. All right. Facebook, Twitter, yes. Instagram, no. You can't come on. And if you have no posts, don't try to friend me on anything. Because then I just assume you're a bot. So kiss off.
There you go. All right, guys. Where can people find you?
My Instagram is now Champagne Poppy. I took it from Drake. So that's my new Instagram. My new Twitter is at RG3, just to confuse people. I'm actually taking it over for him. No, Getting There with Goz on Instagram, at Tom Goz, TOMGOZZ on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
And we do that Levack and Goz podcast a lot, too. So, live from Techie's Fire and Water Restoration.
Mm-hmm.
Always live on Tuesdays and or Fridays?
Tuesday and weekend.
Yeah.
Tuesday
always
and
live on
weekend.
Tuesday and whenever I accidentally answer the phone or let Goz into wherever I'm sitting.
Okay, thanks, fellas.
Thank you, sir.
No, thank you, Ryan.
No, thank you.
No, thank you both.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the podcast Levack and Goz so he can tell me how great he was on this.
And once again, thanks to my buddies Levack and Goz for joining me this week on No Credentials Required. Next week's going to be a special episode. We're coming up onto the NFL draft. I'm going to be joined by my buddies Kyle and Dan, both Jets fans. We're going to talk about the NFL draft concerning the New York Jets. We're going to do our top 10 picks for the overall draft, and then we're going to go right into the Jets draft, so you don't want to miss that. Thanks again for joining on No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. Enjoy your weekend, folks.